Hello, I just read this book called Expectation: What Happened to the Women We Were Supposed to Become by Anna Hope, who I'd never heard of. But this is actually one of my wife's books. Um, and, I actually only picked this up yesterday because I was going through another book about speed reading. And it says pick up an easy reading novel. So I thought I'd just pick this up. And I did some exercise with that anyway, which is why I managed to read the whole thing in a day. It's 300 and something odd pages, 338 pages. Absolutely brilliant, this. Not the kind of book I ever would have read, but I'm glad I did, and now I plan on reading the rest of her books as well. Anna Hope, she studied at Oxford University and RADA. She is the internationally prize-winning and best-selling author of Wake and the Ballroom. Expectation is her contemporary fiction debut and explores the themes of love, lust, motherhood and feminism, whilst asking the greater question of what defines a generation. It's excellent, it's really good. It's about three friends and how their lives, to them meet at school, how they are at university, they end up living together in a flat in London. And I love reading about it because I love London and the places you spoke about I know. Brilliant story. It seems so real. It's because life is unpredictable and people do crazy things and relationships get messy and women are complicated. Am I allowed to say that? Really, really good. And I probably enjoy it more because it didn't really take much time. Moving, realistic, believable. Makes me want to read all of her other stuff. The three characters are Hannah, Kate and Lissa. I'll read you the back actually. Hannah, Kate and Lissa are young, vibrant and inseparable. Their shared world is ablaze with art and activism, romance and revelry, and the promise of everything to come. They are electric, they are best friends. 10 years on, so there's a lot of, one chapter will be 2010, one chapter will be 1994, one chapter will be 1997. It says it will resonate with approximately 99% of magazine. Red Magazine, never heard of Red Magazine, resonated with me. Maybe I'm a woman, or maybe maybe it's just that I grew up with three sisters, and a lot of my best friends have been women. Well, one of my greatest friends ever is a woman. Women are great. So I really enjoyed this book. I suggest you read it. Male or female, I suggest you read it because it's beautifully written. The way she talks about relationships, just the way people interact and the way sometimes things get comfortable. I mean, there's a line in there where a daughter was picked up by her mother. One of the main characters was picked up by her mother after staying with her father. They're separated and they're in the car, and it's difficult for them to speak to each other, and she says she could feel the silence filling the car, the weight of it on her throat and her eyes. I thought, that's brilliant writing. It's really good. Yeah, and I never would have read it if not just for need an easy reading novel, because I usually read non-fiction and everything, but I love this. The really nice thing about fiction is it puts you in situations you'd otherwise never be in. It exercises your imagination, and imagination, by the way, is the most powerful thing in the world. I think, did I review? No, I haven't reviewed this other book yet, where I learned to memorize lists of random words using imagination, because most people use rote learning, and rote learning is bullshit. It's so inaccurate. And now, a week later, I can still remember those lists of random words, and then I thought it was so cool. I taught it to my daughters, aged 6 and 8, and I can remember the lists they made up as well. It's just, you'll never forget it. And rather than rote learning with imagination, it takes 5 minutes and you remember it for ages and ages and ages. Rote learning, 20-30 minutes, and you're lucky if you remember it the day after the test. So many exciting books to talk about. I give this book a well-deserved 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Women love this book, and I loved it too, so maybe that's a missing audience for the author, and I hope I'll read the rest of her books as well. Thoroughly recommend this book. 9 out of 10. Usually I'll tell you how much the book costs. I don't know, it's one of my wife's books. Excellent. Hope you enjoyed the review. I would tell you a bit more about the plot, but it's about relationships, it's about life, it's about aging and expectation. The subtitle, What Happened to the Women We Were Supposed to Become? So you start off with these women when they're 8 years old or so, and through the backs and forths, like ping pong table of time, you end up when they're in their 40s and where they've all ended up and what's happened and how maybe they've betrayed each other, and it's great. Read it, you'll enjoy it. Doesn't take long. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Bye.